Here is Senator Mitt Romney still defending the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Chairman. Ms. Young, you said a moment ago that the 2017 tax cut didn't do what it claimed it would do. I would
Now, odd day to defend these tax cuts.
note that prior to COVID, I believe the economy was at a record level of growth and
You're correct, Tones. We are
levels of
continuing
low
to
unemployment
expand
for minorities
and consume more.
the entire population. So I would think, I wasn't here in 2017, didn't vote for that tax plan, but I think those who did would say actually it was doing what it said it would do. COVID,
It's not.
and I don't believe the tax cut was related to COVID. Do you of course, recognize that every country, every major developed country in the world,
So it's always something. Their stupid ass tax policy would have worked. Oh, if it hadn't been for COVID, it would have worked. Or trickle down economics, the thing George H.W. Bush called voodoo economics fucking 40 years ago.
has a capital gains
Oh,
rate,
shit.
tax rate lower than ordinary income rate. And the reason they do that, I presume, is because they want to encourage individuals and entities to make
Yes, I'm stoked for Final Fantasy VII Intergrade or whatever the fuck it's called.
Or investing in basic research is a risky thing to do. And so rather than having people just put their money in the bank and earning interest, they want them to do things that if you will, create new businesses and new jobs. The president's plan.
Yes, that is the reason for a high tax rate, to encourage a company to put the money back into the company, to invest in their internal infrastructure and their people, to pay higher wages instead of giving it out to their fucking stockholders.
Suggests that we're not going to have a lower tax rate for capital gains. Do you believe there's a relationship between growth and capital gains tax rates?
Senator Romney, clearly we have maybe a difference of opinion on capital gains. We are trying to ensure that what you pay based on your labor, your work, is taxed at the same as your investment income, which a lot of Americans don't have the opportunity to have. So is there inherent unfairness that I would pay more taxes based on the work that I do every day, and those who might be the wealthiest pay half that in some instances because of the investment income?
Mitt Romney would say no.
We clearly think so, and we think those things should be more equal.
So you think that unlike every other developed country in the world, we should have the same tax rate, or actually a higher tax rate, for investment in risky startup businesses and so forth than we do for ordinary income?
I think some of the things you heard Senator Padilla talk about, some of the inherent issues we had as an economy before COVID.
I think that's a yes or no. Does that mean you believe that, in fact, there should be a higher tax rate on capital gains than ordinary income?
We do. We think.
Okay.
Whoa. This is the most fought I've ever seen out of Mitt Romney. I've never seen him come with this kind of gusto. Clearly, when you're talking about the shit, how he makes his money, it matters to him.
Okay.
Close to labor.
I would note that I think, do you not believe that capital gains tax rates relate to growth? You said that the best way to get out of the deficit we have is high growth, but if we have the highest capital gains tax rates in the world, do you think that might depress growth?
We think middle class is an avenue to growth, and this would allow us to put more income or resources into infrastructure, into education, rather than allowing the wealthy to pay.
A small percent earn a large percent.
Well, don't forget that the top 10% earners in America are paying 71% of the income tax. Is that not their fair share? Is that you keep saying they should pay their fair share? They should pay their fair share. What?
Whoa, but that's less than 70% of all the. The argument that he's making is that rich people pay the bulk of the taxes, which is true. Because they have the money. They should pay the bulk of the taxes. That makes sense. And that 70% is still disproportionate to everyone else.
What is the fair share that should be paid by the top 10% of Americans? If 71% is too low, will you say what share
Because notice he's saying they're paying 71%. That's not their tax rate. He's trying to imply that they're paying 71%. But he's correct in what he's saying. But when you clip it to a dumb fuck right-winger, they think like, oh, they're paying 71% of their income into taxes, which is not true. Not true at all. He is saying that they pay 71% of the taxes paid in this country. But they own fucking all the wealth. We only have a small slither. It is still disproportionate. You should be paying more than 71%.
Should be.
Senator Romney, I think you have to look at what they're making compared to what they're paying, and I think most Americans would find it objectionable given the percentage they're paying of their income. I think CEOs now make close to 300
it's noted
times more than
53% of Americans pay no income tax at all. So, and should that number get higher? Should there be a high?
53% of Americans pay no federal income tax because they have it subsidized through tax credits, mortgage credits, blah, 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 fucking child care credits. Most of us get more back than we pay in on our taxes in our income bracket. I'm a poor person. Absolute useless statistics. I even forgot the point that I was making. But that 53% that pay nothing in federal income tax, and that's the one that, right-wingers are supposedly have the most problem with. When you listen to, the Young Americans for Liberty and all those right-wing groups talking about taking your income, most people don't even pay that fucking tax. But the lower class is taxed to fucking death when it comes to sales tax, when it comes to state tax, when it comes to fucking property taxes to pay for schools. One of the ways the rich get out of paying their fair share.
Higher percent that pays no income tax at all?
We should have to compare that to what they make compared.
Both the poor and the extreme. You are exactly right. And that's one of the reasons why, like, people that fall in that middle part, like, they make good money, and this is like the professional class, the managerial class, the doctors, lawyers, people like that are making like over $100,000 a year into like the 400, 500 grand a year. They're getting taxed out the ass because they do not have the political power to cut their own taxes the way rich assholes like Mitt Romney does.
Well, you know what the numbers are in terms of the top 10% earn 40% of the income and are paying 71% of the taxes. And so should they be paying 80% of the taxes? 85? 90?
I think we have to look at what they're paying compared to what they make, which is, I know it's hard to believe, but they are not paying the same percentage as workers.
Yes, more.
When you say they're not paying the same percentage as workers, 53% of Americans pay zero.
You're fucking, you're going to cite something that has nothing to do with anything. Sir, your capital gains are taxed at like half the rate my fucking income is. And that's not fair. That's what we're talking about.
Pay no income tax at all. So if 53% of Americans are not paying any tax, how is it those top 10% are paying a higher share? I mean, so I would note that it would be helpful.
I would note that you're a dumb fuck.
We ought to go to reach a fair share. Let me ask one more thing, and this is just simple math. I guess my time's almost up, and that is, you're proposing that the capital gains, tax be applied at death. That the so-called tax run-up at death, the tax adjustment at death is eliminated, and they should pay a capital gains tax. Help me with this. If, let's say...
I don't know what he's talking about with that proposal. Is that something with the estate tax?
Let's say her $1 million exemption was being used elsewhere, and so she went from had an asset that she bought for dollars, now worth $1 million. I just want to do the math here. So she would then pay the capital gains tax of 43.4% on that $1 million, as I understand it, which would be $434,000. And then she'd also pay, when I say she, her estate would also pay... Yes.
You're correct, Tones. What he's pointing out is that most people are living in poverty. And he doesn't see that as a problem.
Which would be $400,000. So in total, her estate would pay $834,000 on a $1 million.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
Some 83%. Does that doesn't seem like fair share to me? That seems like confiscatory. Have I missed the math somehow on that?
I would say if you look at it in maybe in more round numbers, if I want to leave a $5 million house to a child, $2.5 million remains tax-free. So there is $1 million, you point out, exemption per individual.
Yeah, I understand. And so I'm talking about an individual that has multiple assets, but it's saying that once that $1 million
Rich assholes like you.
That at that point, the 83% tax rate is a fair share, not confiscatory.
I mean, you have to look at the exemption, which is $1 million.
I don't think you should be able to fucking give $1 million worth of shit to your kids. Beyond that, fucking tax it at a high rate. I don't give a shit. Especially not going to give a shit about what they think after we read this. Propublica, I encourage everybody to go check it out. Earlier this morning, published the secret IRS files. A trove of never-before-seen records reveal how the wealthiest avoid income tax. In 2007, Jeff Bezos, then a multi-billionaire, and by the way, he's not even going to space. He's going like above the stratosphere. He's not going into the like exosphere or whatever the fuck is. I have no clue what I fucked the names of them up. But he's not going into the outer layer of our atmosphere. And he's like coming, it's going to take like 14 minutes. The whole trip in total. So he's just basically going up on a balloon really high. In 2007, Jeff Bezos, then a multi-billionaire and now the world's richest man, did not pay a penny in federal income taxes. He achieved the feat again in 2011. In 2018, Tesla founder Elon Musk, the second richest person in the world and the dumbest person in the world, also paid no federal income taxes. The dumbest person in the world, that was editorial by me, that was not in ProPublica's reporting. Michael Bloomberg managed to do the same in recent years. Billionaire investor Carl Icahn did it twice. George Soros paid no federal income tax 3 years in a row. ProPublica has obtained a vast trove of Internal Revenue Service data on the tax returns of thousands of the nation's wealthiest people, covering more than 15 years. The data provides an unprecedented look inside the financial lives of Americans' titans, including Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Rupert Murdoch, and Mark Zuckerberg. It shows not just their income and taxes, but also their investments, stock trades, gambling winnings, and even the results of audits. Taken together, it demolishes the cornerstone myth of the American tax system that everyone pays their fair share and the richest Americans pay the most. Exactly what Mitt Romney said. The IRS records show that the wealthiest can, perfectly legally, pay income taxes that are only a tiny fraction of the hundreds of millions, if not billions, their fortunes grow each year. Many Americans live paycheck to paycheck, amassing little wealth and paying the federal government a percentage of their income that rises if they earn more. In recent years, the median American household earned about 70 grand annually and paid 14% in federal taxes. The highest income tax rate, 37%, kicked in this year as part of the Trump tax cuts. 37% kicked in this year for couples earning above 628 grand. The confidential tax records obtained by ProPublica show that the ultra-rich effectively sidestep the system. Americans' billionaires avail themselves of tax avoidance strategies beyond the reach of ordinary people. Their wealth derives from the skyrocketing value of their assets like stock and property. Those gains are not defined by U.S. laws as taxable income unless and until the billionaires sell. To capture the financial reality of the richest Americans, Propublica undertook an analysis that has never been done before. We compared how much in taxes the 25 richest Americans paid each year to how much Forbes estimated their wealth grew in that same period. Now, Forbes, once again, estimated. They were way off on how much Donald Trump is actually worth. Mainly because they listened to him about it. We're going to call this their true tax rate. The results are stark. According to Forbes, those 25 people saw their worth rise a collective $401 billion from 2014 to 2018. They paid a total of $13.6 billion in federal income taxes in those 5 years. That's a staggering sum, but it amounts to a true tax rate of only 3.4%. It is a completely different picture for middle-class Americans. For example, wage earners in their early 40s who have amassed a typical amount of wealth for people their age. From 2014 to 2018, such households saw their net worth expand by about $65,000 after taxes on average. This is mostly due to the rise in value of their homes. But because the vast bulk of their earnings were salaries, their tax bills were almost as much, nearly $62,000 over that 5-year period. They literally paid the amount of wealth that they gained during that time in taxes. Shit. Warren Buffett's true tax rate, according to Propublica, 0.10%. Jeff Bezos's 0.98%. Michael Bloomberg's 1.3%. And Elon Musk paid about 3.25%. No one among the 25 wealthiest avoid as much tax as Buffett, the grandfatherly centibillionaire. Centibillionaire. I've never even said that word, never heard that word. Can't comprehend that word. That's perhaps surprising given his public stance as an advocate of higher taxes for the rich. According to Forbes, his riches rose $24.3 billion between 2014 and 2018. Over those years, 100 billion, thank you, or 100 billionaire, thank you, Toads. Over those years, the data shows Buffett reported paying $23.7 million in taxes. That works out to a true tax rate of 0.1%, or less than 10 cents for every $100 he added to his wealth. Fuck. It is highway robbery. I encourage everyone to go read the ProPublica article.